Hello and welcome to LFC Focus. Liverpool are taking on Sevilla on Tuesday night away from home in the Champions League, penultimate game of the group stage campaign in a match that could very much determine who qualifies for the round of 16 and also who tops the group and gets that favourable spot in the seeding for the draw for the round of 16. And because of that, this is an absolutely massive game for Liverpool because Sevilla are certainly really our direct rivals for top spot in the group. You know, Spartak Moscow, they're a little bit of a threat. Obviously, Liverpool drew with them away. They beat Sevilla 5-1 in Russia as well. So they're not necessarily small fry. They're not like Maribor per se, but Sevilla are really the team that Liverpool, you thought at the start of the campaign, would be fighting out for top spot to get into the round of 16 with that favourable draw. And also a win for Liverpool in this game would of course confirm our place in the next round of the Champions League, which would be absolutely huge for us, would give us a huge boost, especially with our season starting to look like it's getting better and better. We're putting a good run of performances together. We're looking to break into the top four and everything, and it would be great to have that extra boost of qualifying for the round of 16 with one game to spare that would hopefully take the pressure off that last game at home to Spartak Moscow as well. So it's an absolutely huge match, one that I personally am very, very excited for, because there's very little way to gauge how it's really going to go, because obviously again it's European opposition. It's hard to really know what to expect from them. Very exciting, really looking forward to it, and also it would be nice to get our revenge for that draw earlier on in the season, because obviously Liverpool deserved to win that game. They dominated Sevilla, we were all over them all the way through the game, and we just shot ourselves in the foot a couple of times and came away with just a draw. So it'd be nice to get revenge for that on Sevilla's own turf as well. So not a huge amount of team news for this game then. Obviously, you know, pretty much everything is the same as it was for the game against Southampton at the weekend. Joel Matip is still missing with that thigh injury that kept him out of that game at the last minute. He hasn't travelled with the squad. However, Adam Lallana has. Obviously, we were expecting Lallana to make some sort of appearance in the game against Southampton, and then weirdly he wasn't in the matchday squad, and that was all a little bit strange, but he has travelled with the team, so you'd expect, you know, with a player recovering from injury, there's no point taking him all the way to Spain unless you're planning to use him in some capacity. So I think it will be interesting to see how Adam Lallana is involved in this game. So moving on to the lineup in that regard, it's probably going to be Loris Karius in goal. Obviously he's been the Champions League goalkeeper all throughout this season, for better or for worse. This is a huge test for him. Obviously I think it's the hardest game of the campaign so far. He's going to come under a lot of scrutiny. You know, with the games against Maribor, he was a spectator for lots of them, and before that against Spartak Moscow he did make a mistake, and this is probably the game where he's going to be facing the most shots. He's going to have the most stuff to do, so he's got a chance here to really prove that actually he's better than a lot of fans think, because Loris Karius, you know, his reputation's dipped a lot recently. A lot of fans have decided they just can't be bothered with him anymore. They haven't got time to watch him develop and constantly make mistakes. He's got a big opportunity here to prove himself and prove that he is still on the right track to potentially replace Simon Mignolet as Liverpool's #1. So Karius in goal. Centre-backs, obviously without Joel Matip, it's almost definitely going to be Lovren and Klavan. At right-back, I think it's almost 100% going to be Joe Gomez, because very good performance against for England for Joe Gomez against Brazil. A few people were a little bit surprised that he didn't start against Southampton, but for me personally, I think with 3 games in the space of a week, you do want to do a little bit of rotation, and Gomez, you want him for this game and you want him for Chelsea as well, because he's better defensively, he's a little bit more mature, he's still got something about him going forward, so I think it makes sense to start him. And then on the left, of course, it is going to be Alberto Moreno, who Jurgen Klopp has been talking about. Very nice to hear Jurgen Klopp be saying nice things about Alberto Moreno, saying how proud he is that Moreno's really come on, he's really improved. He's proved Jurgen Klopp wrong as well in this sort of sudden resurgence in terms of his form, so that is great to see. And obviously he's got another chance to prove himself here at his old ground against his old club. And then moving on to the midfield and the most interesting part of Liverpool's lineup, I think what we're going to go for is we're going to go for Henderson in the #6, Coutinho to the left of him, and then I actually think we're going to go with Emre Can to the other side, because while there is a call for Adam Lallana obviously starting this game after his recovery from injury, and obviously he's a very good player, Liverpool will always benefit from having Adam Lallana on the pitch. I just think in an away game against opposition as good as Sevilla, in a situation where Liverpool don't necessarily need to win, you know, we could get a draw in this game, we'd still be in pole position to finish top of the group, so it's not necessarily the end of the world if we don't win the game. I just think, why go so gung-ho as to have, you just one midfielder covering the defensive side of things with Jordan Henderson, and then Adam Lallana and Coutinho doing the going forward stuff. Obviously, Lallana, he's not completely an attacking midfielder. He can defend, he can intercept passes and everything like that. He can tackle and stuff like that. That's what makes him so good as a member of Jurgen Klopp's gegenpressing system. But I just think Emre Can, he brings that little bit more muscle, and Sevilla have got players like Steven and Zonzi who are going to try and dominate the midfield physically. I think Emre Can adds that little bit extra defensive stability in the midfield while also allowing a little bit more marauding, because we know he does like to get forward every now and then. And I think, again, if Liverpool are losing, they can always bring on Adam Lallana to help get them a goal or help get them back into the game. So I think that is how we're going to go with the midfield. And then the attack, it just picks itself. I say this every time. Salah, Firmino, Mane. Easy. There's a shout for Daniel Sturridge. There's a shout for Oxlade-Chamberlain. But why would you not go with the best front three you could possibly get, and potentially the best front three in England, if you ask me? So that is how I think Liverpool are going to line up for this game. So with regards to Sevilla, like I said earlier on, they are Liverpool's direct opponents for the top spot in this group. And when you look at the stats around their performances, particularly at home, you can see why. Because Sevilla haven't actually lost in over a year at home in La Liga. They've got fantastic domestic form at their home stadium, so things are going pretty well on that front. They also won at the weekend against Celta Vigo, who are another very good team in Spain, so that was reasonably impressive, especially because they came from behind to do so. So if Liverpool do take the lead in this game, then they better watch out, because Sevilla obviously got the capability to come from behind. They've also got some good players in that team. Ben Yedder did a number on us in the game at Anfield a couple of months ago. They've got Nolito there. They've got Jesus Navas, so they've got a lot of pace. They know that they can damage Liverpool, so the players have got to be aware of that. However, they have been a little bit iffy. I mean, apparently their form recently has been pretty patchy. They put in some great performances, they get some great results, but sometimes they do drop off a little bit and results do fall away, as we saw earlier on in the European campaign when they lost 5-1 to Spartak Moscow in Russia, and also the fact that they are currently 5th in La Liga, just outside of a Champions League place. So there's a little bit of scepticism over what kind of Sevilla side will show up for this game. Obviously, as Liverpool fans, we hope that they do put in a below average performance, but the team will have to be aware, the Liverpool team will have to be aware that they don't quite know how Sevilla are going to play in this game, so they do have to prepare for the worst. So Sevilla are obviously a very, very good side, judging from that then, and as I said earlier, it's not necessarily the end of the world if Liverpool draw this game, because a point would still put them above Sevilla. They'd still be above Spartak Moscow by at least a point, depending on what happens in their game against Maribor in Russia, and we'd still be in pole position to finish top of the group, provided we then won against Spartak Moscow at Anfield in a couple of weeks' time. But with that in mind, still, I do think Liverpool have got every chance of winning this game, because you saw what we did to Sevilla at Anfield. We completely dominated them in that game, and even though, yes, that was at Anfield and this is in Spain, we showed that we've clearly got the ability to dominate Sevilla and play better football than they do. So I still think Liverpool could get the win, so here are my 3 reasons why I think we will. So first of all, with this being away from home, Liverpool should hopefully have a lot of opportunities on the counter-attack. You'd expect Sevilla to try and dominate the ball in this game, to come at Liverpool, to take the game to us, and hopefully potentially do most of the attacking, and then therefore leave space around at the back for Liverpool to exploit. Now, they have only conceded 3 goals, I think, so far at home in La Liga this season, and I think that is out of 6 games, and they've won 5 of those games as well, so they're not exactly leaky defensively. But Liverpool are a good enough side that they can beat anyone on their day, and on the counter-attack, we've just got so many players that are perfect for that kind of situation. You've got Coutinho who can play the passes, you've got Mane and Salah who can make the runs, you've got Firmino always there to help out and potentially finish off any chances that we create. So I think Liverpool have got every chance, provided they take their opportunities on the counter-attack, should they come to them, of that helping us winning the game. And secondly, obviously all the talk is about Mo Salah going into this game, because he's just on fire, he's absolutely incredible at the moment, but personally I think Sadio Mane might be a little bit more influential than people are expecting, because Mane's sort of drifted out of the picture a little bit over the last few months through injuries and suspensions. He hasn't really had a proper run in the Liverpool team, but since he came back from injury against West Ham and against Southampton as well, he's kind of been quietly pulling the strings. He hasn't taken any of the spotlight, he hasn't been in the limelight so much, but he's still helping out, pulling the strings, providing that creative spark and letting other people take the plaudits for now. And I think especially with the good form that Salah's been in, Sevilla will certainly target him and make sure that he's the player that they try and suppress and stop from doing any magical things like he did against Southampton and West Ham. And hopefully that should afford Sadio Mane Mane a little bit more space on the pitch, which with a player of his ability and his amount of pace, he should be able to exploit. So I think Sadio Mane could actually be hugely influential for Liverpool in this game. And finally, I think the fact that there is less pressure on Liverpool to win in this game should actually help them play a little bit better, because one thing that we certainly saw last season, maybe not so much in the last few games of this season, but last season we saw a lot, Liverpool played best when the pressure was arguably off them a little bit to win. You know, in the big games against the big six, where especially away from home, you'd think, actually, you know what, I might take a draw here. At 1 point wouldn't be necessarily so bad. That is when Liverpool produced their best performances, and that's when they actually blow teams away. And it was only when they were at home against teams where the pressure was really on to win, and you thought, if Liverpool don't get 3 points here, that is a failure no matter what. That's when Liverpool didn't play as well. They lacked the freedom, they lacked the creativity that they've shown in games against like Man City or Tottenham, teams like that. And I just think with this game being against Sevilla, away from home, a big game where the pressure isn't necessarily on, and you think, actually, I'd take a draw in this match. Hopefully that should mean that Liverpool just enjoy their football a little bit more and play better as a result. And hopefully that'll mean we also get the win as well. So that's all for today's video. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll be back hopefully later tonight with the FIFA 18 prediction show for this game. So stay tuned for that. Hit that subscribe button already if you haven't done already. If you're new around here, check out some of the other videos that are available on the channel as well. And don't forget to follow at LFC Focus TV on Twitter. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.